Hey there. Sorry for the delay. I'm always waiting for a beep to happen when it goes live from the countdown, and it never happens with this. So sorry about that. Hi, I am Kasey Anton, and welcome to episode 22 of No Reservations, Kasey Anton's Guide to Restaurant Success. Welcome, welcome. So, this episode is titled Philanthropy and Community Involvement. Explore ways to give back to the community and support local causes. Learn how community involvement can enhance your restaurant's reputation, attract new customers, build strong local ties. Okay, here's the thing. I have very, very mixed feelings on this topic. And I truly mean mixed. I have many different feelings on the topic. Now, I'd like to start off by saying if giving back to your community and or being philanthropic is near and dear to your heart, if it's important to you, if it's what fills your cup, and I hope it does, then yes, yes, do it by all means. And it's amazing, and thank God for people like you. It's great. I think I say that first because doing philanthropic things or investing, whether it's just your time, your services, your food, your beverage, or whatever in your community, if you're doing that because you're seeking some type of payback from it, that is the wrong way to go about it. And also, um, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work in so many different ways, and it will somehow come across very disingenuous, and you definitely don't want that to be said about you or felt about you, your company. So that's why I have mixed feelings about it. So going back to what I originally said, if you're doing these things, these charitable things, um, and truly do not care if there's anything in it for you, if there's any payback of any kind, you just do it because this is important to you and it's part of your values, your culture, then my God, thank you and keep going. And I love that. If it's not, and you're doing it as part of like an advertising or marketing or hoping to get busier because of it, not sure this is the road to take. Not sure this is what I would do. I just think it doesn't work. So here's what I do know about this. There's a couple of schools of thoughts when it comes to, let's say, charitable gift cards, gift certificates that restaurants, give out, dinner for twos, right? I know, back in my day, of all the restaurants I worked in, certainly in, the final restaurants that we had, I don't think a day went by that I did what it was not requested of us to give a dinner for two to some cause of some kind, some charity of some kind. And I remember, oh God, this is going back a long time ago. Uh, Taught English, and I don't know if it was he himself who told me this or somebody. It might have been. I mean, I've had a few conversations with Todd way back in the day. This was no, this was late 1990s. This is when I had interviewed with him. I almost took a job with him. We had another conversation at his restaurant once, kind of late night. It was a bunch of us there, but I think it was somebody that worked for him for a while who had said his advice was say yes to anytime someone comes to you and wants a dinner for two. Just say yes, 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 yes. Get your name out there, and that I think it was meant to be like early on when you're first opening your business. Just say yes to everything and get your name out there. And I don't know if there's merit to that or not. Maybe. I mean, maybe there is, maybe there's not. But I know it came to a point where in my restaurant, we'd been there for, 6, 7 years at that point, and the requests were just nonstop. And it just got to a point where it felt like it was almost obligatory. And I think when you feel like you're obligated to give something for free, it kind of takes the whole point away from being gratuitous, from being thoughtful and caring about giving back. So it did come a point, I think it was in the last year and a half of our restaurants, where whenever I had a request, I would say, great, here's a form to fill out, with what you're looking for, who it's for, and then please tell me, what your ties are to Bomboa, to our restaurant. Um, Now I didn't tell them how to explain their ties, but I think it was kind of obvious that I was looking for, hey, when's the last time you dined with us? Oh, what's your favorite dish? Or, blah, blah, something like that. Because I think people would send, whether they were just older students or just anyone, send them door to door and they just expected restaurants to automatically give a dinner for two because restaurants make filthy rich money. Like that was the entire vibe that I often got, and nothing could be further from the truth. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know that as well. Is most restaurants are not filthy rich, rolling in dough, and can just afford to give away the house. So, with that said, I absolutely love to be able to give back, and I do believe in giving back to causes that are near and dear to you, your heart, and then giving with all you've got, with whatever you got, and whether it's just all your time or your whole space or whatever it is, like give it and don't be cheap about it if this is important to you. But just to do it because you're hoping that somebody will actually see that you're a sponsor and maybe they'll think about coming to your restaurant. No, no, no. I don't believe in that. And I think it gives restaurants a bad name. So I'm not into that. Now, going beyond that, I would absolutely be on board with, if you have a charity, or maybe you create a charity, or maybe there is one that you know of that you just fully believe in, and then you vet it out a bit. I think it's very important to vet out some charities. And what I mean by that is, we've dealt with some nonprofits here, not our favorites. We don't work with a lot of them. We try not to, but we do have a small handful. And over the years, we've definitely worked with a big handful of them. And some of them, certainly not all, not even the majority, but some of them are not really in it for the charitable cause that they support. They're really in it for what they think is a tax evasion, or just to be able to run some money through, um, all of which is completely illegal, but they're small enough that nobody's looking at it. And it just always sat with us the wrong way, is, that they would go out and they would try and fundraise to get money to basically just pay their salaries. It made no sense to me. And by the way, the business I'm talking about was not a restaurant, but I learned a lot about nonprofits and charities over the years from working with them. And it is important to vet them a little bit, to get to know them, to find out who's the director, or who's running it. You certainly can ask to see their financials. I don't know if you necessarily need to. It's easy for me to do that because of what I do for a living, and I do ask to see financials, and I want to see where the money is going and how much is actually going to the root cause of what they're there for. And it's usually a very small amount. So I like to work and donate to the ones where I know most of the money is actually going to the people or the cause that it represents. So if you find one that you feel is really important to you, and then you vet it out a little bit, and you try, you get a good vibe, maybe you trust the people running it, you see what they're doing, then go all out. Go all out. Offer your space, maybe at a down time for you, but offer your space up for free. Maybe do some cheap, simple, light apps, and maybe you do beer, wine, and a custom cocktail that's like super inexpensive to make, and that's your donation. And my God, it could mean the world to the right organization that you're doing that, and that people come in, they just donate to their cause. You could probably do that much easier than writing out 1,000 dinner for twos to a bunch of unknown charities, and the impact will be much, much greater. So that is what I highly recommend. Of course, I believe in the businesses that are involved in their community locally, that are doing it for the right reasons. And we have some here in the South Shore of Boston. So there is an owner, he owns about 5 different restaurants. And I have to say, he is usually somehow at the forefront of any type of, whether it was the COVID pandemic or anything else that kind of comes up, maybe a hurricane that went through. He's at the forefront of helping the people who need to be helped during those times. And I don't think he's asking for anything in return. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart. And I love it. And I think he has a really good following. Thus, he has 5+ restaurants because of, not necessarily entirely because of that, but I think it absolutely helps that he does do that. He's genuinely a good, caring guy. We actually have a client here, a home meal delivery service, who also strongly supports a handful of charities, most of them local, the ones that I know of that she supports. And she goes all out, all out. So I would say of her advertising and marketing budget, a large chunk of that is dedicated to going all out for these local charities that she believes in, and is always helping the first responders. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she's getting that back in some way in return. I don't think she even cares. It's just what she believes in. And I think when you pay it forward in that way, somehow the karma will come around and you will get it back. And maybe it has, because she does extremely well, and her meal delivery service has grown tremendously year over year over year. So it absolutely can pay back. So, but that's what I want to say about uh, philanthropy and community involvement, is that it needs to be sincere. It needs to be genuine. If you're not feeling it, then don't do it. Actually, speaking from a personal level, I would say, I mean, I've been at Spark. I've been, started almost 17, 18 years ago, I think. Oof, God, I'm old. Um, and I definitely have been asked, not a lot, because, how many people go on, knock on accounting firm doors and ask for donations, but I have been asked here and there. And because of my experience in the restaurant with, everyone having their hand out for a free dinner for two, I've always been no, 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 no. I just said no. I just said no. I would just say no. And I'm one of those people, when they want you to round up at a register, you round up your change. I'm just no, no. And the reason why I always say no to that is because I don't know enough about that charity to know if the money is actually going to the right people and not just going to the CEO or director, which it usually does. So I say no to those things. I will say yes, absolutely, to the ones I believe in. And as a matter of fact, I actually did start one for our local community. So that's how I got involved, and that's what genuine to me. So I did it for the high school students here, for them to get their community service hours in, for them to learn about hospitality, and to bring that forward in the world and creating joy, and also in entrepreneurship and business scholarships that I created through this business that I founded, that does those things. And I love it. And it actually is a lot of work, but I'm giving back to the community. So we run a concession stand at the athletic fields for the little kids, for the kindergartners, through actually preschool, kindergartner, and through 8th grade. I get to work with the high school students for community service hours, and teach them about hospitality. A lot of these kids are freshmen and sophomores, never had jobs. And then last year we gave out our first $3,000 scholarship to a business student, and it was just thrilling and exciting. And it was probably hundreds and hundreds of hours of my time to do so, but worth it, 100% worth it. So I guess, maybe the moral of that story is, if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't beat them, make it up. You can certainly start a charity on your own. It's not easy. I'm not even saying I recommend it. There's a lot that is involved with creating a nonprofit. It is audited every year. There's a lot of expense that goes with it, etc. So I'm not saying I recommend that. I do think that giving back, of course, is important. I just don't think it should be arbitrary. I think you should think about it. I think you should find something that you truly love and believe in, and vet it out, and then give everything you got. And if you can't find it, then maybe you do create it. Maybe if you have that time, you have that passion, or you find the right people and join them and do it with them, because it is important. So that's it. So that is a wrap on my philanthropic and community giving in this episode 22 of No Reservations, Kasey Anton's Guide to Restaurant Success. As always, please, please, please share, like, whatever you do, comment. I'd love to have some more listeners out there spreading the word, and hopefully give them some food for thought. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.